where the wisdom flows, ancient wisdom narrated for today. Tales of the earth where the fire still glows, for young and old, a guiding light.
Let native story heart wake your soul today.
Fate has a cruel sense of humor. 15 years after my best friend sold me into the hands of kidnappers, then a day came by, I found him bleeding on my operating table, unconscious, helpless, and unaware that I was his surgeon. Do I let the past speak, or do I choose to be better than him? Welcome to our channel, where Africa's timeless stories come alive. Here we bring you folk tales, rich history, and vibrant oral traditions retold with fresh energy and vivid details. Before we dive into the story, please take a second to give us a thumbs up by liking this video and drop a comment telling us where you are watching from. And do not also forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on our next powerful story. Here is my personal story. I am Dr. Eniola now. The skinny boy with oversized shoes has grown into a man who wears a white coat and saves lives in Ibadan General Hospital. My name hangs proudly on the door of my office, and when patients call me doctor, I still feel that small spark of disbelief inside me. Against all odds, I made it. But every victory I've had was shadowed by the memory of that betrayal. I worked harder than anyone else in school, not just to make my mother proud, but to prove something to myself. I refused to let Tayo's treachery define me. Still, even as I healed physically, trust became a stranger to me. Friends were kept at arm's length. My heart became a fortress, the gates guarded by the memory of Tayo's cold eyes as he watched them drag me away. It was a rainy afternoon when the past came knocking. I had just finished a long surgery, a young man with internal bleeding after a car accident, and was about to grab a quick meal. When my phone rang, "Doctor, emergency," the nurse's voice crackled through. "We are prepping him for immediate surgery." I rushed back to the theater, adrenaline surging as it always does before a life-or-death operation. Saving lives is never routine. Every case is personal to me. But I could not have prepared for what awaited me on that table. The gurney burst through the swinging doors. The patient was unconscious, his shirt soaked with blood, his face pale from shock and pain. The nurses rattled off his vitals as we wheeled him in. I put on my gloves, my mind already focused on where to cut, what vessels to clamp, and then I saw his face. Tayo. Older now, thinner, his once bright eyes dulled by suffering, but unmistakably him. My childhood friend. My betrayer. For a moment, the room spun. I felt the air leave my lungs as memories came rushing back. The narrow alley in Lagos, the creaky cabin door, the cold rope biting into my wrists, his silence as I screamed for help. "Doctor, we are losing him," one nurse shouted. My hands froze above his chest. 1,000 thoughts crashed into me at once. This was my chance. The universe had placed him on my table, helpless and bleeding. I could let him die. No one would ever know. One slip, one hesitation, and justice would be served. But my mother's voice echoed in my head. Eniola, no matter what people do to you, never let your heart become like theirs. Don't repay evil with evil. I clenched my jaw, forcing my emotions back into their cage. I was a doctor now, sworn to save lives, even the lives of those who hurt me, especially them. "Scalpel," I said, my voice steady, though my heart thundered. Let's save this man. As I opened his abdomen, clamping the bleeding vessels, flashes of the past stabbed at me with every motion. The night I escaped, the headlights on that lonely road, the sound of his voice saying nothing, his silence louder than any shout. But I forced myself to focus. This wasn't about revenge. This was about who I had become, not who he had been. After what felt like hours, the bleeding stopped. The wound was closed, and Tayo's heart beat steady under my hand once again. I had saved the man who once sold me to kidnappers. When the surgery ended, I walked out of the theater drenched in sweat, feeling as if I had run a marathon. I couldn't face him yet, not immediately, but I knew that I would have to. 3 days later, Tayo regained consciousness. The police were already outside his room. Apparently, he'd been stabbed in a bar fight after some shady deal went wrong. He was still the same Tayo, always chasing quick money, always running from something. I stood at his bedside, watching him struggle to sit up. When his eyes finally met mine, he froze. "Eniola!" His voice cracked with disbelief. "Is it really you?" "It's me," I said evenly. "Dr. Eniola Adeyemi. I'm the one who saved your life." Shock, then shame, washed over his face. He tried to speak, but no words came. I could see his lips trembling, his fingers clutching the bedsheet. For a long moment, we just stared at each other, the years between us collapsing into silence. "Why?" he whispered. "After everything I did to you, why would you save me?" I took a deep breath. "Because I'm not you, Tayo. I won't let your betrayal turn me into something I'm not. You tried to destroy me, but you failed. I became who I am in spite of you, not because of you." Tears welled up in his eyes. "I was stupid, Eniola. I thought it was just a way to make quick money. I didn't know they would hurt you. I didn't know." "Stop lying," I cut in sharply. "You knew exactly what you were doing. You watched them drag me away. You didn't even blink." His shoulders sagged. He had no excuse left. "I've lived with that guilt every single day. I went to prison. My mother died from shame. My life. It's been nothing but suffering since then. I deserve whatever you want to do to me." I looked at him. This shadow of the boy who once swore we'd conquer the world together. For years I had imagined this moment, rehearsed what I would say if I ever saw him again. I thought I would scream, curse him, maybe even strike him. But standing there, all I felt was tired. Tired of carrying the weight of anger. "I don't hate you anymore, Tayo," I said quietly. "I forgive you. Not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. I won't let you live in my head rent-free any longer." He broke down, sobbing. And for the first time in 15 years, I felt the last chain of bitterness fall away from my heart. When Tayo was discharged, the police took him into custody. He would face justice for his new crimes, but not because of me. I had done my part. I had saved his life and freed myself from the prison of resentment. That night as I walked home, I thought of my mother's words again. She had always told me, "Eniola, character is what you do when no one is watching." I realized that day that forgiveness is not weakness. It's strength. It's choosing not to be consumed by someone else's darkness. Tayo had tried to break me, but instead, he had forged me into someone stronger. Someone who could look evil in the eye and choose good anyway. In all of these, I have come to learn that life has a way of hardening you, teaching you lessons you never asked for. The betrayal I suffered at the hands of Tayo carved deep scars in my soul, scars that no amount of time could fully erase. But it also built me. It gave me a kind of strength I didn't know I possessed. Today, I save lives not just with my hands, but with my heart. My scars remind me of who I am and where I came from. If you're listening to this story, remember this. Betrayal can break you, or it can build you. The choice is yours. I chose to live. I chose to forgive. And because of that, I am free. Thank you for being a part of today's story. Share your thoughts in the comment section. We would want to know what touched you most in this story. Don't forget to like and share. You never can tell how far it will go to shape someone's life. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our next powerful story. Until then, bye.